My name is Jenny-Lee Almeida. I'm a mental health educator at Canadian Mental Health Association in Windsor and Essex County branch. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Today is my very first podcast, Mental Health Matters. This is an absolutely amazing opportunity that CMHA has essentially to spread awareness in regards to mental health. Mental health is so important. And it's just as important as our physical health. I believe that us reaching a broader audience this way can really help a lot of people in regards to tips, information, where to go for resources, support, and help. This is my first podcast. I've brainstormed a million and one ideas on how we can assist Windsor and Essex County in, giving you guys and providing you with that mental health advice, education, information. And please, after this segment, for my next podcast, I really invite anybody that is listening to, send emails into WePodcast and maybe give me some suggestions as to what is it that, everybody wants to speak about. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I've been at CMHA for about 10 and a half years now. And I think that, I am the 1 in 5 Canadians that have experienced a mental illness. My course, about 19 years old, I had a panic attack at the university, and I'm a psych major. I was a psych major. I had probably done Psych 101, and it's so different when you read about anxiety disorders or generalized anxiety and panic attack disorder. It's so different when you actually experience it. I was 19 years old. I was about to write a midterm. I remember so clearly walking in, and all of a sudden, it was like that adrenaline rush, that fight or flight response. And then it was like this awful feeling that just totally took over my body, and I was so scared. And all the symptoms that you get in regards to like anxiety and panic attacks, like I had them all. And when I was actually going through it, all I could think was, oh my gosh, I'm having a heart attack. I need to go to the hospital. So I told you guys a little bit about that because I'm a huge advocate and I'm so passionate about mental health because we all experience it. I got help. I had support. And, sometimes it was really hard for me to openly talk about it because I thought that, it was, I wasn't strong and I wasn't getting over it by myself. To this day, do I still get panic attacks? Absolutely. I'd be lying if I said no, I don't. Some days, yeah, I do. And it's a really scary feeling. But over the past, probably 15 years, I've done a lot of, talk therapy and counseling. And, I've tried medication. I've tried exercise. I've tried a whole bunch of things. And it's not just one thing that will help you. I've learned through experience that it's like you try anything and everything that, maybe a therapist will suggest or a counselor would suggest or your doctor or a family member or you read up on. And it's kind of, I think it's like just you kind of start filling your bag of tricks of coping strategies. And I learned a long time ago, for me, I needed a whole bunch of coping strategies, and it was kind of a combination of all of them combined that really helps me. I do know, I'll tell you one thing. So for racing thoughts, when you start feeling that anxiety and like that fight or flight kick in, and you start having those what if thinking, or you starting to like just go over things in your head. For me, at nighttime, it's so important for myself to have that downtime and that self-care. So what that means for me is shutting things down. And a long time ago, I'll never forget it. It was a therapist, and I was in university, and I was crying, and I said, like, help, I just can't stop thinking before I go to bed, because I kept having panic attacks before I would sleep. So I was always afraid of going to bed. And it was the simplest advice. And, I had tried a whole bunch of coping strategies. They weren't working. And all of a sudden, the therapist said, you like reading. Did you ever think about just opening a book, turning all the lights down, maybe have a flashlight, and just focus on reading on a book, like reading your book? So I went home and I said, okay, I'm going to try that. The first day, the second day, the third day, I can't even tell you. I don't even remember what I read. I do remember reading and at the same time having those racing thoughts and thinking, this is not going to work. And I think it was like the fourth and fifth day that all of a sudden, like, I started to concentrate on the words, and I was reading my book, and the racing thoughts were, subsiding. And then I started to learn that I was being mindful of what I was doing. I was grounding myself, and I was staying in the present moment, which was reading that book. And I'll tell you, that saved me every night, because sleep is so important. So that's just a little spiel about myself. I've been at CMHA for 10 years, like I told you. 10 years, I was working as an intensive case manager at CMHA. And basically, I was assisting people out in our community that, were struggling with moderate to severe persistent mental illnesses, and basically just helping them achieve goals that they wanted to, whether that was, coping with symptoms, symptom management, trying to get to school, navigating the mental health system, which can be very scary and very daunting for some people, accessing resources, support, you name it. And I absolutely loved what I did. And then all of a sudden, I got, there was a new opportunity that came about, and it was to kind of provide greater education to the Windsor and Essex County. And, our CEO, Claudia Denbauer, she was amazing in saying, this education is important, and we really, really do need to be out there. And here I am. And I'm so excited. I've always been passionate about speaking and sharing my story and seeing how I can basically help anybody. I think that the more we speak openly about mental health, about, things that we're going through, even day-to-day stressors, I find that sometimes just debriefing and talking to someone, it really does help. My amazing coworkers, like, that are case managers, that's what we used to do on the daily is, spending that time connecting lunch hours or 10 minutes and just having a coffee break and just saying, how you doing, and debriefing. And that's like helping, with our stress, because we're all human. And then the helping profession, sometimes, we do get a little bit of increased stress, and it's really important for us to, take care of our self-care and our well-being, as for absolutely every single person. Okay, so I've spoke a lot about myself and about what I'm passionate about. And like I said, please send emails to WePodcast. I really want to know what you guys want in terms of podcasts. If we want to do a show about anxiety and coping strategies and what works for others, what doesn't work for others. If you want information on accessing resources, a one-on-one 101 tip on how to navigate the mental health system, where to go in Windsor-Essex County Branch for resources and support. What else could I help you with? We could speak about depression and warning signs. We could also speak about suicide prevention. Anything goes. So please, I invite you to email us. If you do have a sensitive question or you'd like answered and everything would be confidential, I could definitely try my best to answer those questions on the podcast. But if you do have a sensitive question or you need further support, please don't ever hesitate. Contact CMHA. Our phone number is 519-255-7440. We're located at 1400 Windsor Avenue. We're open 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. We do have an amazing team. And we do have people there that you can speak with. We also, just calling us, and if you're inquiring about services or information or want some resources, don't hesitate. It's so important. Go on our website, and a lot of stuff that I do speak about, it is from our website, and it is pretty factual stuff. So it is windsoressex.cmha.ca. My personal email, if you'd like me to answer any questions, would be jalmeida@cmha-wecb.on.ca. Okay, so since it's October and seeing that it is nice weather right now, we've had a pretty amazing September. I'm shocked. I love it. But, something that is always in the back of my mind sometimes is knowing that, the shorter days and the colder weather of winter is coming. And it is completely normal for some people to start feeling a little bit down, especially since we don't live anywhere close to the ocean. So, the reduced light, the warmth, and even the color of winter can make a lot of us feel rather, melancholy, irritable, a little grouchy. But, if these feelings do recur every year and you find that it makes it, tough to function during the winter months, and it doesn't subside so much in this, it's really important to say, hey, let me start getting in gear for that fall winter season and having some little tips that can help us, right? We do have the winter blues, which is, that's generally when we start to feel a little yucky in those winter months. But then come springtime and then the summer, you start to see that your mood elevates a little and you start to feel a little bit better. Now, if it does get really severe and you start seeing that mood drop and you are having some symptoms of depression and loneliness, isolation, fatigue, loss of energy, sleep disturbances, please, I'm going to encourage you, really go speak to your family physician, general practitioner, or call CMHA, in regards to, could it be seasonal affective disorder, right? So with any mental illness, with any mental health problem, it's really important for everybody to know that recovery is there, and mental illnesses are treatable. So it's really important that you kind of tackle it. And I'm a huge advocate of prevention. The more we know, the more we can educate ourselves, the greater we have control over kind of the outcomes, in the sense that, we get to be our own advocate. I used to tell people all the time, nobody knows how you feel So, for myself, when I would go speak to my physician about my panic attacks and stuff, I'm the one who knows it. So I always tell people, gather as much information in regards to your symptoms and how you're feeling, and let, your physician, let people know that can help you, because you're the only one who is going to be able to 100% advocate for yourself and do your research, So I got a couple of tips for you in regards to getting ready for that, fun winter months that are coming ahead. And maybe in December, what we can do is dealing with Christmas and that stress that comes with it, especially with like shopping and Christmas parties and all that fun stuff, right? So I've got like about 5 tips in regards to what we can do to kind of prepare for those, shorter days. The sunlight's gonna be, slowly getting shorter. So tip number 1, get as much natural light as you can. It's free, right? So what does that mean? It basically means when you see the sun and it's outside, go outside during the daylight. Try to get as many hours and expose yourself to the sun, right? Without wearing sunglasses. Obviously, you don't want to look directly at the sun. Take short walks outdoors. Maybe, during your work hours, if you see the sun out and you have a coffee break, go outside and have your coffee, right? Dress warmly and get that extra bit of added sunlight in your day. If you can stay warm enough, like try to increase that amount of time spent outdoors. Also, another really good tip is to increase the amount of sunlight that you actually get in your home. So maybe you have to rearrange some furniture or open up those curtains all the time instead of having everything so dark. I mean, I know in the summer times, usually my blinds are always closed because, I'm trying to keep that house cool. But during the winter months, open up those blinds, open up those curtains. It's so important. Let that sunlight get into that house. Tip number 2. You guys are probably all going to know what this one is. Exercise. It is so effective. And a lot of studies are showing that it's just as effective as an antidepressant. So regular exercise is a powerful way to fight that winter blues and that seasonal depression, especially if you're able to exercise outside. That's like kind of like an added bonus. So, maybe in the morning when you wake up, if you have some time before you got to go to work, go for a walk. Or a lot of people are now trying to do their exercise during their lunch hour. So, if you're fortunate enough to have like an hour lunch, maybe spend the first 30 minutes of your lunch hour going outside. I always get encouraged and motivated to have, a buddy system. So I'll ask other people like, hey, would you like to go walk and get a coffee? Or let's go for a walk. It's so important that those little things can really, really help during that fall and winter season, right? So regular exercise can boost serotonin, endorphins, and other feel-good brain chemicals. And in fact, right, exercise can treat mild to moderate depression, and studies show just as effectively as an antidepressant. But again, this is just stuff that I'm sharing with you. Everyone is different. Some people, it does help exercise in combination with another strategy. Again, these are just tips, right? So tip number 3, what happens during the winter? We tend to isolate a little bit. It's too cold outside. We don't want to go socialize, but participating in social activities is so important. In the summer months, I drive down Wyandotte and I'm in Old Walkerville, and all of a sudden it's like patio season. Everybody's out. We have to try our best to get out in those winter months as well. So try scheduling ahead of time. Maybe, once a month, checking in with a friend and going out to the movies or going out for dinner or doing things that are also free, 100% free, finding what is going on in our community that you can go attend with, or skating. We do have a lot of outdoor rinks. So kind of those things. It is really hard. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes, my husband tries to pull me out in the winter months. Let's go outside. Let's go do this. And I'm just like, no, it's too cold. But when I do get out there, I come back in and I'm just like, wow, that felt so good. So, persistence and encouragement, right? So if you know that you need that extra push and that extra encouragement from someone, let that person know. Yeah, I'm probably going to say no to you when you invite me to go do something, but that's just because I'm thinking it's cold outside and I don't want to go out. So tell that person, give me a little shove, encourage me, ask me 3 times, my manager, Karen Geniak, she always says one thing and I love it. She always says, if a person says no, don't worry about it. Ask again, because every no is closer to that yes. So I like that one. I always use that in my own life because my husband will ask me once or twice, and by the 3rd time, I'm outside and I'm doing that physical activity. Okay, so another thing that social activity does is being there for each other, right? Sometimes just talking about what you're going through can help you feel better. So being with others who are facing the same problems can help reduce your sense of isolation, but it can also provide inspiration and, inspiration to make some changes, or meeting new people with a common interest by taking a class or joining a club, enrolling in a special interest group. Please, in regards to events and stuff, go onto our website, go onto our Facebook at CMHA WECB. We are constantly sharing a lot of community events. And here's the thing, they're free. And it's a lot of stuff that you can do with your family, a lot of stuff that you can do by yourself. So keep that in mind in terms of, the fall and the winter months, that, art classes or writing classes, what be it? Just maybe set a goal this winter to try something new. Another great way is volunteer. You can volunteer with us. We're always looking for amazing volunteers. So, one of the best things to make you feel really good is to make someone else feel better too, right? So volunteering is a great way to feel like you're giving back. So tip number 4, you want to eat the right diet. And sometimes that's really hard in the winter months, because what we're doing in the winter months is we're eating that yummy, heavy food. For me, I like that chili and that lasagna and those stews, lots of warm comfort foods, right? Not so good sometimes, just because I find that makes me feel a little bit more sluggish. So keep your energy up and, minimize those food cravings. So try to minimize, the bread and the rice, and start trying to increase those good foods that you are eating more of in the summer months. So another good tip is foods rich in certain omega-3 fats, such as oily fish or walnuts, soybeans. They can also improve your mood and even boost the effectiveness of some antidepressants. But having said that, it's so important that you do speak with your general practitioner, your psychiatrist, a healthcare professional when you are doing any natural remedies or any natural medications in combination with some medications, right? Because there could be an effect. Tip number 5. take steps to deal with stress. So by making, time for fun, that really does help reduce that stress, right? So too much stress can exacerbate or even trigger us feeling even like more fatigued and really low in our mood. So figure out the things in your life that are stressing you out and try to make a plan to either avoid or minimize their impact. Right? So practicing some coping strategies, right? Whether it's practicing daily relaxation techniques, exercising, writing in a journal, singing, art, you name it, right? But there's a lot of things that can help us manage our stress and reduce negative emotions, such as like our anger and our fear. And we can do that, right? So try yoga, meditation, do something you enjoy, and try having fun, right? Laughing and smiling. Having fun is a great stress buster. So make time for leisure activities that bring you joy. Whether it's painting, piano, singing, or simply hanging out with friends, right? So don't lose that in those winter months. So those are my tips. That's what I try to do. I am hoping the sun is going to stay with us a little bit longer, but if not, that's okay, because I'm going to take my 5 tips and I'm going to try to implement them. And what I'm actually going to do, I'll open up a little bit, and I've never tried yoga. Never have. And I've been doing a lot of research about it, and there's so many benefits in regards to a lot of like calmness and, really being in the mindful, like grounding yourself that, like I said, I do experience panic attacks. I do experience anxiety. And sometimes in the winter months, I do struggle a little bit more with that. So last year, I was going to the gym 5 days a week and, doing that cardio and a lot of muscle conditioning. And it helped. It was amazing. I felt so good. So this year, my goal is I'm going to try yoga and see if that makes me feel good during those winter months. So I hope you enjoyed my very first podcast. It's been a pleasure. And like I said, please don't ever hesitate to contact us, share your ideas, share your thoughts, and any suggestions you have. Thank you very much. Bye.